So when it comes to fats, it can be extremely confusing. We were told don't have butter, use margarine, and now they're saying, you know, margarines are bad for you and vegetable oils are bad. Have coconut oil or butter, Tyler. So we've got you in here to kind of, you know, sort of give us the insight that we need to know, because it is confusing and there's so much out there right now that we're hearing about. So let's clear it up for viewers.
Sure. And fat makes you fat is another one you hear all the time.
Oh yeah. Fat is good for us. It just has to be the right fat.
Yeah, it's a good segue. That in terms of what your body needs fat for, your cardiovascular system, your immune system, your hormonal system, your reproductive system, nervous system. Fat, other than serving as a source of calories, which it does, we don't eat it for those reasons. We usually try to avoid eating it unless we're on like a shipwrecked on an island. Like normally we would choose our fats based on what we're trying to do for our health. And generally speaking, about 30% of any healthy diet should be consisting of fat. And about at least 2/3 of that fat should be unsaturated fat as opposed to the saturated variety.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, which is about 33 grams per 1,000 calories is an easy rule of thumb. Now all fats have about 9 calories per gram, so it doesn't matter what fat you're consuming, they're all going to be equal calories on a per gram basis. Okay. Right off the top. Now, the main areas that you're going to consider when choosing fats is, like we said, trying to focus on your unsaturated fats and trying to reduce your saturated fats and focus on your unsaturated fats. But specifically within the unsaturated fat category, which is this kind of zone here, now. This is the eat more of zone, which I'll talk about first. What we're trying to do is increase our omega-3 intake, which is an essential fat, and decrease our omega-6 intake. So both omega-3 and omega-6, they're both considered essential in the sense that our bodies can't produce them, but the delicate balance between 3 and 6 determines a lot of our health, the impact on our health.
So where do we get omega-6 from?
Omega-6 is virtually everywhere, which is why no effort should be.
And that's why we get a lot of it.
It's one of those things where in North America especially, we have about 20 to 1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3.
Oh, wow.
Just without trying, just our natural intake.
Okay.
So we're trying to bring that ratio down to like a 4 to 1, ideally. And that's where the best benefits are seen with inflammation and cardiovascular disease primarily. So the way we do that is by choosing our oils carefully to achieve that balance. The one thing I like to start with usually is everyone needs like an all-purpose oil. Like there's always some sort of vegetable oil or cooking oil that people use. I am a big fan of olive oil as a general purpose oil for a couple of reasons. One is it has a fairly high heat tolerance, so you can use it hot. You can also use it cold. We make a lot of vinaigrettes, salad dressings, and that type of thing with olive oil. It does have a bit of a flavor compared to just regular old vegetable oils. But if you get more refined ones, like the less expensive ones, like not the extra virgin olive oils, for instance, the flavor is a lot more diminished, and the heat tolerance is actually a bit higher too.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
well, and I also heard too that having sort of an olive oil and some balsamic vinegar with your bread, the absorption of the carbs into your system from the bread is lessened a bit.
Yeah,
because of the fat.
That's true. The fat
I just read that. I can't remember where, but I did just read that, and I found it very interesting.
That's true. When you add oils and fiber, for instance, because we'll talk about fiber in a second, you do reduce the rate at which sugar enters your bloodstream. So if you're eating bread with oils, it will have a less impact on your insulin.
Yeah, really cool. And of course, great ones here, and this is easy to add to your diet.
Yeah, so I'm less of a fan of using like refined oils for things. Like there will be times when you have to use a bit for cooking or, you know, for salad dressings. I'm a bigger fan of getting your fats from whole food sources.
Like nuts.
So like nuts and seeds basically are your two biggest ones. Now in terms of the nuts and seeds, any nuts and seeds, they're all very healthy. I chose hemp seed and walnuts today because they tend to be higher in omega-3s than other nuts. So if you're going to choose, you know, a variety of different nuts, these are good ways to go. In addition to getting oils, you also get high protein, a lot of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin E and that type of thing. But you also get some fiber as well, as opposed to just using straight oils. Now, if someone's going to supplement, here we're just talking basic uses.
This is what you can eat and ingest, but supplements.
Exactly. These are your eating things. Now, supplement-wise, the one thing that, as we talked about that 4 to 1 ratio being so key, adding more omega-3 is the best way to go. The only two real concentrated sources of omega-3 that are also cost-effective are flax and fish. There are others, like you can get hemp seed oil, you can get walnut oil. Soybean oil has a little bit of omega-3 as well, and there's algae oils, which are very expensive. But basically, your omega-3 fatty acids from fish is usually the most cost effective. Most companies nowadays use sardines, anchovies, herring, very concentrated,
and all very good for you.
Clean.
And most of us don't want to eat those.
No, and no, that's exactly true. And so what they do when they make fish oils, they basically concentrate the oils, they filter out all the nasty, fish flavor, unless that's your type of thing. It's not for me.
There's a lemon one that's great. You just drink it straight.
And exactly, and they throw like a flavor on top. And flax oil is your best vegan alternative to fish oil. You have to take more of it to get the same amount of omega-3s, like the long-chain fatty acids like EPA and DHA from flax. In both of these cases, you need to refrigerate them as soon as you open them because they're very delicate. You can't cook with these; they got to be low temperature only.
Okay, so ingest them. You can put them in smoothies.
Yep.
That's how I get it in my system.
Yeah,
it's
smoothies,
easy.
salads. If you're brave, you can take it straight on a spoon. Flavor-wise, it's never usually a problem. It's just the oil texture that some people
some people don't like
not
that.
fans of.
So before we run out of time, let's talk about these ones down here.
Sure. So these are the use less of category. Vegetable oil in general is it's a go-to for a lot of people for all-purpose oils. The thing about vegetable oils is it's kind of a wild card. It could be anything. It's just whatever. You have no idea what's in it unless you read carefully. It also gives you usually a lot more omega-6, and we're trying to avoid omega-6.
Right, we want to get that down.
Yeah, and so we're going with olive oil, we get a lot less omega-6, more omega-9. So trying to avoid vegetable oil as much as you can.
And same with your margarines, even though a lot of them now say there's olive oil with it, or
they're still mostly omega-6.
But now what about these two in the middle?
So coconut oil and butter, basically, these are your saturated fats. The easy way to tell if something is predominantly made of saturated fatty acids is it's solid at room temperature.
Right.
So you're dealing with solid coconut oil, solid butter. Their use basically, unless you need something spreadable or you need a certain texture for baking, like you can't bake necessarily with just any old oil, you need something that's solid. Unless you need something spreadable or baking, I generally tend to avoid them unless you also need them for like high heat cooking. Like higher temperatures, they're more stable.
Yeah, they don't change their molecular structure.
Exactly.
Right?
Because they're saturated, they can't become transonated. They can't form harmful fats like you could if you tried using something like flax oil, which is a big no-no.
Don't heat that.
Yes.
But you can heat
you can heat those.
Great info. Wow.
Thank you.
We could do continued. On the next time Tyler's here, we will continue our conversation about fats, but appreciate it. Thank you so much for clearing up some of the questions that we probably have. Full Circle Healthcare and Supplements, Highland Plaza on Upper Centennial Parkway. You can give them a call at 905-930-7769, and you can go visit them as well, or check out their website, fullcirclehealthcare.ca. They often have great workshops that you can be part of.